Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I welcome you all to the online maths seminar program, which is conducted by Muslim Majlis, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. So this is our third part of the program, and today we're going to discuss about the fractions. So fractions is something that we give in numerator or denominator. Let's say something x over y. This x and y can be anything, that it could be 2 over 5, 3 over 5, 7 over 8. So it can be anything, 1 over 2, except y is not equal to 0. And what is this fraction is exactly? So let's say we say that I ate half of the bread. So that half of bread, you see, you have eaten the half of the bread. You are saying that I have eaten half of the bread. This half you saying is the fraction part. And let's say the quarter of the salary. Quarter of salary. Let's say the salary is 40,000. So the quarter of 40,000, that is 10,000. So you say the quarter, the half. So these are the fraction part. There are some important points when talking about fractions. So it is important to be aware of the unit which the fraction is obtained. So let's say the quarter of 50 liters of water is used. So in that case, the 50 liters of the water is the total unit. And so let's say the quarter of 50 liters. So here the 50 liters is the total unit. So we have to always focus on the total unit, the 50 liters, which we take the fraction of. And the example could be 1/5 of the fruits in a collection of 25 oranges. So here the 25 oranges is the unit that we take. So always we have to focus on the total unit from which we take the fraction of. So here in this case it is 25, and the quarter of 50 liter, in that case the 50 liter is the part which we take the fraction of. Now let's see some important words in fractions. The proper fractions. Proper fractions is where the numerator is less than the denominator. So it can be 2 over 5, 3 over 7, 5 over 10, anything. Anything that the numerator, this is the numerator and this is the denominator part, the numerator should be less than the denominator. And the next one is the equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions. So let's say half. This is equal to 4 over 8. This is equal to 8 over 16, and this is equal to 16 over 32. So these are all equivalent fractions because we can cut this and this would be 1 over 2. And if we divide by 8, this would be 1 over 2. If we divide by 16, this would be 1 over 2. So here we have to take the 1 over 2 and multiply with the same number. Let's say we have to multiply by 4 up and down. So it would become as 4 over 8. So these are the equivalent fractions. And the next is the improper fraction. Improper fraction is where the denominator is less than the numerator. Or else we can say that the numerator is higher than the denominator. In proper fraction, numerator is less, and in improper, the numerator is higher than the denominator. So this could be 7 over 2, 5 over 3, anything where the numerator is higher than the denominator. Next we will consider the addition and subtraction of the fractions. Addition and subtraction of fractions. So in addition and subtraction, the denominator should be equal. In order to carry out addition or subtraction, the denominator should be equal. Let's say we have to add 1 over 2 and 2 over 3. So this can be directly added because the denominators are different. So first of all, we have to change the denominator into a common one. So which would be this 6. For 6 we have to multiply by 3 up and down, so 3 over 6. In this case it is multiplied by 2 up and down, so it would be 4 over 6. Now we can add because the denominator are equal. Without equating the denominator we can't add or else we can't subtract. So in this case it would be 7 over 6. So this is same for subtraction also. Let's say we have to subtract half from 1 over 3. So we have to change the denominator into a common one. So that would be 3 over 6 and minus this is by 2 and this is by 2, 2 over 6. So that would be 1 over 6. Next, the multiplication part. Now we have to multiply a fraction of 2 by 3 by 6 by 5, let's say. So we directly multiply by this. So if we have any common numbers, we can cancel it off. Here 3 is common in 6, so that would be 2 equal to 4 by 5. So no big case in multiplication. So next we'll come into the division part. Before moving into the division part, let me say something called reciprocal. So if there is a number called A over B, the reciprocal of A over B is B over A. You simply interchange these two. So let's say 6. What is the reciprocal of 6? So 6 would be 6 over 1 because 6 divided by 1 is 6. So this should be interchange. Reciprocal. That would be 1 over 6. We have to interchange. In this case 6 is A and 1 is B. So we have interchanged it. Now let's consider division part. So let's say we have to divide 3 by 5 fraction by 2. So in order to carry out the division part, we have to change this into the reciprocal and multiply by it. So this would be 3 over 5 into the reciprocal of 2 is, that is 2 over 1 is 1 over 2. So that would be 3 into 1 and divide by 5 into 2. That would be 10. Now let's look at an example so that we can understand much better. Look at an example so that we can understand much better. So let's consider this example. So these parts are called the mixed numbers. So we have to convert those mixed numbers into improper fractions. So that would be 2 in times 3 plus 2. That would be 6 plus 2, 8 minus 1 into 2 plus 1, 3 by 2 plus 5 over 6. This whole part is divided by 4, 5 of 1 into 3 plus 2. That would be 5 over 3. In order to carry out this, we have to consider the BODMAS. So which would be BODMAS? bracket of division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. We have to go in this order, first this, second this, and so on. So first of all, we have to simplify the brackets, and next is the off part. This is the off part. So first of all, we'll get all these terms into a here the addition and subtraction are there, so we have to take it under a common denominator. So we'll take this under a common denominator. So common denominator would be 6. 16 over 6 minus 9 over 6 plus 5 over 6 divided by the off is the multiplication part. So we have to do this first. We can cancel these two. Now we have to add this and subtract this part. So that would be 21 minus 9, that is 12 over 6 divided by, these two cancelled off, remaining part is 4 over 3. So 12 over 6, this is 2. So which is 2 divided by 4 over 3. Now the division part, as I mentioned earlier, we should multiply this by the reciprocal of this. Reciprocal of this means we have to interchange the denominator and numerator. So that would be 3 over 4. Now we can cut this 2. So that would be 3 by 2. This is an improper fraction. You can leave this as this, or else you can change it to a mixed number. Now with that basic understanding, we'll move forward into the questions. So the first question is, Ananda had a small library. 1/6 of the books in the library were children's storybooks. So whatever the data given, you marked it down. 1/6 of total is children storybooks. And the 1/4 were literature books. 1/4 of total were literature books. Ananda donated these storybooks and literature books to the village school. So Ananda has donated this part of the total to the village school. So before moving into the question, we have to understand he has donated these two parts to a village school. So we have to add this. In order to add this, we have to equate the denominator. So what would be the denominator? That is 24 would be the denominator. So 24, and if you multiply by 6, 6 over 24. So this is this storybooks, this is the literature books. So that would be 10 over 24 of total books were given to the village school. So get this idea before moving into the question. So now we'll look into the first part of the question. Find what fraction of the total books were donated. So this is the first part of the question. We have done it, so we can mark this as the first part. And next, the number of books donated was 150, and that is a fact given in the question. Number of books donated is 150, so mark that down. This 10 over 24 of total books is equal to 150. So let's consider total books as x. Whatever the unknowns, we put it as x, y, gamma, theta, whatever the values, we mark it as 10 over 24 into let's say big X. This is multiplication and this is X is 150. So let's get this idea. So through this we can find out the total number of books. So that would be X is equal to 15 into 24. So that X would be is equal to 360 books. So the total number of books is 360. So the next question is find the total number of books that were originally in the library. So we have found out the answer for the second question before even we moving into the question. So whatever the fact given, you just jot it down into your paper so that you can use it later. We'll move into the next question, and there is a data given. Of the remaining books, Ananda gave 60 to his neighbor. So 360 is the total number of books. Out of that, 150 is given. So what is the remaining part? That is 210. 210 books is remaining. So in the fact given is 60 books of the remaining portion is given to his neighbor. So out of this 210, 60 books is given. So the remaining is 150 books. Now what is the part that is remaining in Ananda's bookstore? That is 150 books. Now the next question is find what fraction of the total number of books that were originally in the library was given to the neighbor. So we have to find out the fraction of the total number of books which was given to the neighbor. So that is number of books given to the neighbor is 60, and total number of books earlier was 360. So they have asked this fraction, that is 1/6. So you make sure you provide all these data while you performing the question. You say that 60 books were given to neighbor and neighbor 360 of total books, and then you carry out this operation so that you can get all the marks for the steps. And the next part is there is a fact given. After giving to the neighbor, Ananda sold 3/5 of the remaining books. So after giving to the neighbor, what he has left is 150 books. So out of that, 3/5 he has sold. So which means 3/5 of 150 he has sold. So that would be 30, 90 books. He has sold 90 books. Sold. So the fourth question is find what fraction of the total number of books that were originally in the library was sold. So we have to give the fraction of the number of books sold to the original number of books. So the original number of books is 360 and the book sold is 90. So you have to give the fraction 90 over 360. That is 1/4. So that's the end of the question. So important point is be aware of the unit from which the fractions are obtained. So here the fraction of obtained is for the total number of books. Here the fraction is for the remaining books. So be aware of the unit from which the fractions are obtained. So the second question is Mr. Kitsili made a cash donation to a community center. He has done a cash donation to a community center. 2/9 of the total amount he donated was used to buy musical instruments. So 2/9 of, let's say the given donation is X, 29 of X was used to buy musical instruments, and half of X was used to buy sports equipments. So earlier, as I said, we have to find the common denominator and add, so that we can find the total fraction which is used to buy musical instruments and sports equipment. The first question is, find what fraction of the total amount was used to buy the musical instrument and the total sports equipment. So we have to find the addition of this. In order to find the addition, we have to find the common denominator. So that would be 18 would be the common denominator. So we can multiply by 2 the first part. So that would be 4 over 18 plus 9 over 18. This is sports and this is musical. So we can add these both. So that would be 13 over 18. So out of the donation, 13 over 18 part is used for buying musical instruments and sports equipment. So the remaining part would be 5 over 18. So remaining part is 5 over 18. So you mark it down so that it would be helpful. Remaining part is 5 over 18. So we can read the next part. 1/5 of the remaining amount was used to buy books for the library. So clearly understand this. 1/5 of the remaining amount. So this is the remaining amount. Out of this, 1/5. So that would be 5 over 18 into 1 over 5. So that would be 1 over 18 of total amount. Let's say the total amount is X. So that would be 1 over 18 of X. That is used to buy books for library. So the next question, we'll go into the next question and see. Find what fraction of total amount was used to buy books. So this is the next question. So we can just mark this down here. You include this part for the second question also. And the next data is given is the amount remaining after buying books was used to renovate the community center. So what are the fractions used now? 13 over 18 is already used for musical and sports purpose. 1 over 18 is used to buy books. So what is the remaining of total X? That is 1 minus the addition of this, that is 4 over 18. This is the remaining fraction that is there. So the next question is, what fraction of the total amount was used for the renovation? So we're gonna put just number 3 here and set these two and the addition of these two as 14 over 18, and let's say first clear we can say X minus 14 over 18 X, that would be 4 over 18 X. You can either mark like this or this, no worries. So the next part is the fourth part of the question is, if the renovation cost was 20,000, find the total amount Mr. Kitsiri donated. So the renovation, what was the part allocated for renovation? That is 4 over 18 X. This is the part which was used for the renovation. So if this is equal to 20,000, that is, so we can now find the x. For 18 into capital X is equal to 20,000 means we can find this 29, this 2 can be cancelled here, so the X is 90,000 rupees. So the total amount that was given as a donation is the 90,000 rupees. Now we will move into the third question, that is the 2009 oral question. Sanat spends 1/3 of his salary for food, 1/3 for food, and 1/6 of his salary for outings. So he goes outings for 1/6, and 1/5 of the balance amount he spends to buy books. So from this, after spending this, there should be a balance. From that balance, he spends 1/5. So out of the balance, he spends 1/5 to buy books. Clearly understand this. First, these two are from his salary, and after the salary, from the remaining part, he spends 1/5. So now we'll move into the question, first question of third, that is, find the total fraction he spends on food and outings from his salary. So we have to add these two and give. So that is 1/3 plus 1/6. So we have to find the common denominator, that is 6. 2/6 plus 1/6, that is equal to 3/6. So this can be simplified as 1/2. So this is the fraction that he spends out of his salary for the food and outing. So the remaining, so he spends this amount. So what would be the remaining? So if he spends half, the other half is remaining. So we should know that. So I'll mark this separately here. The remaining is half, and out of that 1/5. So that would be 1/10 of total. So what the amount he spends to buy books is 1/10 of the total salary. So let's look into the next question, that is, what fraction of Sanat's salary does he spend to buy books? We already did it. Now we can write it here. So 1. So let's consider the whole part, that is 1. Whole part minus half, what he spent on foods and outings. So that would be equal to half if there is remaining. So out of that remaining, 1/5, that is 1/10 of his total salary. Now we'll look into the next question, that is the third part. 1/4 of the balance amount with him he deposited in the bank. That is, after this and this, the remaining part he has deposited in the bank, and that amount is 3,000. So find his total salary. So now we have to find the remaining, to find the 1/4 of the remaining part. In order to do that, we have to add the 1/2 that was spent on food and outings, and 1/10 on buying books, So that would be, so we have to take the common denominator. That would be 5 over 10 plus 1 over 10 is equal to 6 over 10. 6 over 10 is what he has spent. So the remaining is 1 minus 6 over 10, that is 4 over 10. So what is remaining is 4 over 10. So out of that, 1/4. So we can divide these 4 and 4. That is 1/10 of his total salary. He deposited in the bank. That amount is 3,000. So that we can see 1 over 10 of x is equal to 3,000 rupees. So now we can find the x. That is 1 over 10 into x. So just we have to multiply this 10 into 3,000. That would be 30,000 rupees. Now we'll move into the fourth question, that is 2011 question. So that is Mala bought a stock of mangoes. Mala has bought a stock of mangoes. 1/8 of the stock was spoiled. 1/8 of the total spoiled. And 1/7 of unspoiled mangoes were raw. So this is spoiled part. 1/7 of unspoiled. Were raw. Mala sold the remaining portion of unspoiled ripe mangoes. Now we'll move into the question. So the first question is, what fraction of total stock of mangoes were unspoiled? So we have to find what stock of total is unspoiled. Out of total, 1/8 was spoiled. So that means 1 minus 1 over 8, that is unspoiled. So 1 over 8 is unspoiled. So from the first question we know that 7 over 8 of total mangoes were unspoiled. Only 1 over 8 was spoiled. Now we'll move to the second question. So that is, what fraction of total mangoes was sold? As the question suggests, that 1/7 of unspoiled were raw. So she didn't sell the raw mangoes, she has sold the ripe mangoes. That is 6/7 of unspoiled were ripe, and that what she sold. So what was the unspoiled part here? As I mentioned earlier, we have to find the unit from which the fractions are obtained. The unspoiled part is 6 over 7 from the unspoiled, that is 7 over 8. So we can cancel these off. 6 over 8 of total portion were ripe. This is of total portion were ripe. So that would be 3 over 4. 3/4 of the total part is what she sold. The next question is, there were 400 fruits in the stock that was bought. So in the total amount, there were 400 mangoes. And if Mala sold the unspoiled ripe mangoes at rupees 10 per fruit, How much did she earn by selling these mangoes? So we know that she sold only 3/4 of the total mangoes that were bought. The total mangoes that were bought is 400. So out of that, only 3/4 were sold. She sold mangoes. So that is 3/4 into 400, which is equal to, we can cut this part, 300 mangoes. She has sold only 300 mangoes out of 400. So she has sold one at rupees 10. That means she has sold 300 into 10. That is, she has earned rupees 3000 by selling all these 300 mangoes. Now the next question is, by selling the mangoes, Mala made 20% more than the money she spent to buy the stock. Find the price at which she bought the stock of mangoes. So now it has given the fourth part. She has made 20% extra from what she bought. So let's say she bought, for example, let's say she bought it for rupees 100. So if 20% extra means that she has sold for 120 rupees. So that would be 120 over 100. This is, if she sold for exact price, that is 100 over 100, that is 1. So that would be 1 of, let's say the amount she bought was X. Let's say this is X. If she sold for 20% profit, that would be 120 over 100 into X. So that is equal to 3000. So now we have to find the X. So we can cut these two, this 12 with this 3, here it would be 4. So that would be 10,000 divided by 4. That is equal to rupees 2500. X. She has bought the 400 mangoes for 2500 and sold it for 3000. So that's the end of the question, and if you didn't understand this 20% extra part, I'll clarify that more. So let's consider she bought for 100 rupees and sold for 100 rupees. So this comes under percentage part, so we'll cover a little bit here. So this is, she is selling for the exact price that she bought. So that is 1 of the bought price. So this 1 can be written as 100 over 100. So 100 over 100 is obviously 1. That is equal to 100. She hasn't made any profit or any loss. So that is what? 100 over 100. So this is the total part, and this is what she is selling for. Now let's say that she is selling for 10% profit. 10% profit means there is 110 over 100. So the 10% profit part is added to the earlier 100, and that would be is equal to 110 rupees. So this is the selling part, selling price. This is the amount. These are the portion the percentage portion that we are selling. So now let's consider that she is selling for a 20 percentage loss. So that would be, if 100 is the exact amount, 20 percentage loss is 80. Of total 100 rupees the amount, she has lost 20 percentage. That means here 80. Now the selling price is, so this 100 cancels off, is 80 is the selling price. Exactly, if she sells for 50 percentage this profit, that is 150 over 100, so that would be 150 rupees selling price. We will cover this in the percentage part. Now for the time being, I have just clarified a small part in this section. Thank you for following our tutorials part. If you found this useful, please do share with those who can be benefited from this. So stay tuned with our University of Sri Jayewardenepura Muslim Majlis for more videos and tutorials. Assalamu alaikum.